Welcome to Isolate Extraction Systems. Today it's my absolute pleasure to introduce you to our Chief Technology Officer, the one and only Kelly Knutson, who is also the founder of this amazing company, one of the most clever people you will ever meet in your life. Very, very interesting. He does all sorts of stuff outside the company, has weird and wonderful hobbies. And so today Kelly's going to be speaking a little bit about IES innovations and what's coming down the pike. It's such a joy.
Thanks, Lorenzo. Happy to be here as well. I first want to start off talking about kind of where we've come to so far. We've spent the last several years really working on the foundation, which is our systems as they sit right now,
right.
and the flow rates, the user interface and functionality of the systems, as
right.
well as the high performance and specific parameter set points, and being able to achieve that through the entire run really leaves us at a good position to be able to.
We've got a great foundation to build on, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So what's coming next is we're taking that foundation and building upon it in a couple different directions. One direction is intended to focus on process specific technology and improvements on what we do already.
Right.
A lot of our systems currently are focused on targeted extraction, where we hit a very precise set point for both pressure, temperature, and time.
Nice.
So we're able to pull out specific compound groups utilizing that method. One thing that we're going to be expanding on is also allowing for inline separation using a fractionation type method, and we're making great improvements there, and we've had really good success so far. Hopefully we'll be able to provide a little more detail to everybody as we progress here over the next month.
I'm dying to tell the world, but I know I'm not allowed to today.
Yeah. But it's geared to be a process specific method, primarily within cannabis and hemp, to where the user's able to enter exactly what they have and get the absolute best quality oil coming out of the end of the machine, pretty much regardless.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that our flow rates are basically best in class right now, right?
Correct, yeah. So in combination with the precision of our machines, the flow rate really just brings it up to the next level of speed. Flow rate is very important for the process in general, and more specifically having a consistent flow rate. But increasing the flow rate just continues to increase the throughput on the machine, and therefore profits for the customer.
Nice. So what's the biggest lesson that you have learned through the whole COVID experience that we've been able to apply to our hardware, to our machines?
A lot of it is serviceability and usability of the machine.
Mm-hmm.
As it became difficult to service people in the field and get face to face with them, it became more and more apparent that we really need to make sure that the systems are self-sustaining and easily diagnosed, and walking you through troubleshooting methods, and that's some of the improvements that Evan will be talking about.
Our data collection, right?
Correct, data collection, as well as a new user interface system and control system that we're going to be launching here soon. Really will allow the user to self-diagnose the vast majority of the system, and that what they can't do, we'll be able to remote in and determine really any problem with the system, and hopefully be able to fix it remotely. There are some components and things that you cannot fix through technology, and we will have to replace physical components on, but we'll be able to identify those in a much shorter time period, leading towards more uptime and customer success.
So the marketer in me has to ask this question. I don't know if you want to honestly you want to answer it. I know we're working on some new stuff, which is just next level. Can you talk to that, or do you want to leave that to Evan?
Talk to a little bit. Some of that is around the user interface, and what Evan and our engineering team is working on right now is releasing the next generation of our baseline models, which are very broad. Our operating range is that to allow for many different applications. So that's some of what I was alluding to earlier, is we're going to start to narrow that scope within certain product models to allow various industries to have just much more usability where they can just push a button and go. But we still have to build upon the foundation that we have already and continue to improve in that regard as well.
Right.
So some of the improvements that are coming out there, as well as certifications for universal function around the world.
So it seems to me that innovation has to be a part of, I don't know, not just the culture, but of our practice continually. I imagine that every extractor manufacturer would be doing the same thing. How do our innovations set us apart from our competition? Why should people get an IES machine?
Our dedication to customer success is probably the number one thing. You know, every single team member of IES believes in supporting our customers and ensuring that they get everything they can out of the machine. So taking that a step further and diving back into the technology to help the customer and help our service and project management teams be able to implement systems rapidly and diagnose problems rapidly is really what's going to set us apart. We're also working with some of the best names in the industry to develop the next generation technology, as well as develop education processes and education centers to help teach the next generation of extractors.
How do you feel about the new facility in Schenectady?
I love it. I've been up there, I've seen it. I saw it before it was even dedicated to IES. It was kind of rough around the edges initially. It was a fabrication shop, and we've done a great job of going in and just absolutely cleaning it top to bottom.
24,000 square feet.
24,000 square feet. It's a beautiful facility. Got everything painted, cleaned, polished. Brought in some new lights across the whole thing, and now it's getting set up in a fashion that we weren't able to set up our first facility. The rapid growth and continuing to change and move with the growing market and early market didn't leave us in a great place to set up the perfect production line. Now we set up a great production line at the end of 2019 and rolling into early 2020 when we had a very large backlog of systems. We were producing them at a breakneck pace. It was going fast. And we're still capable of doing that, but in that process, we identified a bunch of improvement points that we were able to implement in this new facility.
In Schenectady.
So we'll be able to produce the highest quality machines right off the line, drop ship to customers, and while still continuing to develop the next generation systems here in Colorado, and working through the first few prototypes. And once those are ready for the production line, we'll send the production drawings up to New York and have them manufactured and drop shipped straight from Schenectady, New York.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. I know that company well. I know that facility well. They'll get the job done. So last comment, at the risk of sounding corny, I'm assuming you're feeling quite confident coming out of, as the country and the world is slowly coming out of COVID. We ready for the next season?
I believe we are, yes. We spent a lot of time over the last year, like I mentioned, working on hardening the systems in regard to longevity, serviceability, as well as product throughput on it. And that also goes not just for the systems, but our processes and services internally. We put a lot of focus into our project management and service teams, which are doing fantastic. The commissionings and the service calls are shorter time periods because everything's working much more efficiently with the implementation process and the transfer of communication to the customer from our team. And we're just seeing a great improvement in customer success from that.
Nice. Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for spending a few minutes with us. You can learn a lot more about what you've heard today by going to isolatesystems.com. Thank you.